Hello everyone. Today your presenter is me, Atabey Guliyev, and today we are going to go over the topic Pythagoras Theorem. Now we have Pythagoras Theorem on the screen. So what is the Pythagoras Theorem? As you see, we have right angle triangle and it has three sides, and here go the formula, which is Pythagoras Theorem investigated long time ago. So now during this session we will try to figure out how we can use the Pythagoras theorem and how it works. Before starting our session, I would like to share with you what is the learning objective of our today's session. Learning objective of today's session is to demonstrate an understanding of Pythagoras theorem. We should also have some success criteria. What is our success criteria? To identify what Pythagoras theorem is and recall some basic facts about him. To identify the hypotenuse of a triangle, to use Pythagoras theorem to find the length of the hypotenuse, and to use the Pythagoras theorem to find the length of a shorter side. During our session, we will try to look over all the success criteria. But before starting our session, I have a small starter for you. But before starting the starter, I would like to share one website with you, which is joinmyquiz.com. You just need to open in your internet browser this website, and after that you see there is a enter a game code box. You just need to enter that 6309186 game code to that game box code. Later click on the join. On the next page will be seen enter your name page, where you need just to enter your name and click on start game. And later it will take you to the quiz, where you will have 5 questions and where you have to find the square root of each of these numbers. Now, we are talking about the Pythagoras theorem. Let's see who was Pythagoras. Pythagoras was a Greek mathematician who was alive from before Christ 580 to 500 BC. Very little is known about his life, except that he traveled a lot in his youth. He eventually settled in Crotona in southern Italy, where he started teaching. He soon had a small circle of students who lived a life of study, which was inspired by philosophy based around mathematics. The circle of students became known as Pythagoreans. Also, Pythagoras discovered several ideas. The sum of the angles of triangle is equal to right angles. You know, to right angles it's 180 degrees, because each right angle it's 90 degrees. Also, the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides, which is we are going to have a look today. Many also believe that Pythagoreans discovered the dodecahedron. It's 12 faced 3D shape. You can also Google it. You can find the view how it seems on the internet. I have a small short video about Pythagoras theorem. Let's watch that video and later we'll turn back to our session.
Measure twice, cut once. Dear Tim and Moby, can you explain the Pythagorean theorem? From Carrie. Sure thing. The Pythagorean theorem applies to right triangles like this one. Every right triangle has a right angle. That's any angle that measures exactly 90 degrees. The side opposite that right angle is the hypotenuse, and the sides adjacent to that right angle are called the legs. The Pythagorean theorem says that the square of the length of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of the lengths of the legs. Yeah, it's named after the Greek mathematician Pythagoras, who is often credited with coming up with the equation. In truth, it was probably known to mathematicians before him, at least in part. But Pythagoras got the credit for some reason, so here we are. Okay, let's try it out. C is our hypotenuse. We can plug in 5 for that, and we know that 5 squared is 25. Leg A measures 4 centimeters, so A squared is 16, and B is 3 centimeters, which makes B squared 9. 16 plus 9 is equal to 25. We just proved the Pythagorean theorem. We can use the Pythagorean theorem to find the length of a right triangle's leg as long as we know the lengths of the other leg and the hypotenuse. 10 squared is 100, and 6 squared is 36. We subtract 36 from each side, which gives us 64 equals b squared. B equals the square root of 64, which is 8. So leg B is 8 centimeters long. Pretty cool that the Pythagorean theorem works, eh, Moby? Moby? Wow. Look at all those toothpicks you made. You know they sell those in stores, right? That's true. These are made of nicer wood.
So as you see from our small short video, that Pythagoras theorem, it stands for a squared plus b squared plus c squared. Now, during this session, we will clarify how to use the Pythagoras theorem based on the video which you watched now. Now, the main formula for the Pythagoras, it's a squared plus b squared and c squared. And let's see what does represent c, a, and b. C, every time it represents the longest side of the given right angle triangle. It's always found opposite the right angle. What does it mean? It does not matter what is the position of your right angle triangle. All the time it's going to take place opposite to the right angle, in front of the right angle. And it is the longest side of the right angle triangle. So if we want to find the square of this longest side, we need to use the Pythagoras theorem, which is a squared plus b squared equals to the c squared. Let's apply this formula. For example, here, the missing longest side we have. If we want to find this missing longest side, which is c in this case, we should substitute the values of each a and b in the formula of Pythagoras. So here we know, instead of a, we should write 6. Instead of b, we should write 8. And later we should just calculate what is the c squared. So if we want to calculate, we know how to find the squares. We just need to multiply each number by itself, which makes 36 plus 64 and equals to c squared. And we found what is the square of hypotenuse, which is 100. The step 3, we should find the square root for finding what is the hypotenuse. The square root of 100, of course, we should find. And here you go, the c, which is representing our hypotenuse, it is 10. So 10, and the unit of measurement, 10 centimeter. So the shortened version of this, so what we did actually, we could summarize our steps like this: square, square, add, and square root. Let's see how it works. Again, step 1. We should find square. Square of 5, which is 25. Step 2, again square, which is square of 10, 100. And step 3, add these two squares, 125. And step 4, find the square root, which gives you, in this case, 11.2, if to round to the nearest one decimal place, which is the length of hypotenuse. And with the unit of measurement, which is centimeter. So now let's try to apply Pythagoras theorem in terms of for finding our one of the shortest sides, which is b in this case. If we want to find the b, actually we saw how we can find the one of the shorter sides of right angle triangle, which we call also as leg. Now let's see how we can apply it. By rearranging the formula for Pythagoras theorem, we can easily calculate the length of one of the shorter sides. Let's see how we can apply it, how we can rearrange this formula. The longest side we know. For the longest side, we should use the Pythagoras theorem, a squared b squared equals to the c squared formula. But if we want to find one of these shorter sides, in this case, for example, a squared, we just need to rearrange. It means we should move b squared next to the c squared, and here you go, if we want to find the square of A, it equals to the square of C subtracted square of B. The same we should apply to the B square. I mean, if we want to find another leg, which is B, the square of this side, it is C square subtracted A square. Again, what we did, we rearranged our Pythagoras theorem formula, which is A square plus B square and C square. It doesn't matter which way round we label A and B. So it does not matter. You will take, in this case, A and B. In the previous one, we took as 6 and 8. You can take as in a different order also, 8 and 6. So long side every time should be the hypotenuse, which is C always. But the shorter sides we can take in any order. For example, let's have a look to this question. Here we have one missing shorter side, B. Step 1, we should substitute our values into Pythagoras formula. So in which Pythagoras formula? In rearranged Pythagoras formula, where we have two shorter side. C square, which is in this case, it's going to be 8 square. Later, the other leg, which we call also shorter side, 6 centimeters square of that. We should subtract from the 8 square, and we should calculate 64 minus 36. It gives us the square of the missing side. If we want to find that missing side, we should find the square root, which is in this case 5 point, if to round to the nearest one decimal place, 3, and with the unit of measurement, centimeter. Let's have a look to the steps which we passed in terms of for finding the shorter side. So we can summarize our steps like this: square, square, subtract, and square root. Let's see how it works. For example, as you see here, we have the longest side, 11. One of the shorter sides, or let's call it one of the legs, is 7 centimeters. Another one is missing. So the step 1, we should find square, as we're told. 11 square, 121. The square second, it means the square of the given leg or given shorter side. 7 square in this case, it's 49. And we should subtract them from each other. Of course, from the longest side, we should subtract the square of the shorter side. In this case, 121 subtracted 49, and which gives us 72. We should find square root of that 72. In this case, if to round one decimal places, it is 8.5. Now I have another video for you. Let's have a look. Let's summarize our whole session knowledge via this video.
Go. Let me tell you about a man named Pythagoras. He was a mathematician, but way past the average. Everywhere you go, you can hear people cheer him, cause everybody's using a Pythagorean theorem. How do you do it? Well, it's not hard. All you need is a right triangle to start. Yeah, the two short sides are legs. The long side has a different name instead, the hypotenuse. And in case you get tangled, it's the side that's always across from the right angle. So you got 3 sides, but you only know 2. This is where Pythagoras knew what to do. He named the 2 short sides A and B, and he called the hypotenuse C. Then he fit all of it into an equation, and it became the theorem that's sweeping the nation. We're doing the Pythagorean theorem. Haven't you heard? When you know 2 sides, you can find a third. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Solve for any one, then you're almost done. Cause when you get your answer, you're still not through. Don't forget that you gotta solve for the square root. True. Now check out this day in the life of Pythagoras and see how he used math. Pythagoras was playing baseball with his peeps at second base, and his throw had reach. You see, he knew that he was 90 feet from first base, but he wanted to see how far he was from home plate. From home to first was another 90 feet, so it looked like his equation was complete. 90 squared plus 90 squared equals C squared. Take the square root of C squared, then we're home free. When the game was done, Pythagoras took a walk, and he saw a building on fire right down the block. The people inside were trapped 40 feet up. The fire truck was 30 feet away, and it was stuck. Time to find the hypotenuse. There it is. In the Pythagorean theorem's what we've got to use. 30 squared plus 40 squared equals C squared. So for C, that's the size of the ladder that we need, right? Yeah, it was crazy. Pythagoras went from playing baseball to saving people from a burning building. And the whole time he used math. That's why we're doing the Pythagorean theorem. Haven't you heard? When you know 2 sides, you can find a third. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Solve for any one, then you're almost done. Cause when you get your answer, you're still not through. Don't forget that you gotta solve for the square root. True. And don't forget those Pythagorean triples if you want to be a real whiz. You know, 3, 4, and 5, 5, 12, and 13, and 7, 24, and 25. They even work in multiples, too. It's how you do the Pythagorean theorem in style, you dig?
So it was my last video for today's session. We summarized everything which we learned during this session. The Pythagoras theorem again, it stands for a squared plus b squared plus c squared. And at the end, I have another quiz for you, which is going to summarize the knowledge which we learned during the session. For this again, you need to go to the website joinmyquiz.com, and later to the box where you should add the game code, you should write 899-0253. Later press to the button join. Later it will take you to another page where you have to write your name. I hope you enjoyed from today's session. Thank you for taking part. Stay safe, take care, and think of the others. See you next time. Bye-bye.